Hey everybody, welcome to another breakdown video. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down Trivia Time. This is a trivia style experience that I based off of this app running around the interwebs called HQ Trivia. And I thought to myself, hey, why don't I try to make that in Metaverse? So this is the result. It's an HQ Trivia style experience, and if you want to play it before I break it down for you, feel free to scan the code here on the right hand side. So without further ado, let's dive into this thing and let me break it down for you. So let me zoom out so that I can show you the entire experience. And then I'm going to put some annotations on the screen, so just follow along with the annotations. You can see here that I'm using a lot of different scenes and then a row of blocks, and these blocks are user properties. So we are using user properties and checking those user properties. So to start off, we first have our intro scene here, and this just introduces people to the game. It has one button that says start, and it's got a cool background that I'll show you in just a second. Then we're setting our initial user property, and then every single question is broken down into the same pattern for each column. So you'll notice that we have 10 columns here, and that's because we have 10 questions. So as we go down the list, each column will ask a different question. Now, after you go through all 10 questions, we are taken down to this block here that says check user property, and that's going to see if you got all 10 questions correct. And if you did get all of them correct, you're taken to a scene that gives you a trophy. If you didn't, you're taken to this other scene, and then we have the opportunity for users to take a photo and post to the photo wall itself. And then at the end, we just have an experience to end the experience. So that is the breakdown overview. Now let's dive into the specifics. So I'm going to zoom back in here. And let's talk about our first scene. So we have our regular text, but you'll notice that here I'm using a special syntax. It's $ curly brackets, and inside all we need to do is put username. And what that's going to do is display the name of the user that's playing the game. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Another thing that I want to note about this is I found this really cool background. And so I'm going to go into scene backgrounds here on the right hand side and copy and paste this in a tab so you can see what it looks like. But basically, I mean, it's just a bunch of dots like floating into the center of the screen, and I thought it just looked so cool, and it actually worked perfectly with that intro scene because it fits right there with that trivia logo. And so you'll see when you turn on the experience that these dots sort of going towards the center of the screen, and it looks really cool. The other thing that I want to show you is I took full advantage of the audio stuff in this experience, and so you can add audio to your scenes by clicking on this button here at the bottom. So let's take a little preview just to show you sort of what I've been working on. So take a listen.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Trivia Time, the #1 trivia game show here on Metaverse, where you are the player and you are the star. In this experience, we have 10.
Okay, just a little sneak peek. It's a 3-minute long clip, and there's a little Easter egg at the end of that audio, so if you actually listen to all 3 minutes, you'll have a little funny tidbit in there. But let's move on to the next part here. So we're setting our user property via user property block, and I just named this HQ Trivia Points because that's what I was basing this off of. We set the value to 0, and then in the advanced section here, you want to make sure that it says number here because it is by default a string, and then this 0 is not in quotations, and so that's going to make sure that you're displaying a number and you don't run into any issues when you increment that user property. Immediately after that, we jump into our questions, and every question has a unique background that I found, and then has a unique piece of audio, MP3s that I uploaded. And so we've got this one's about a snake, and then if they get the answer correct, it'll increment the user property here, and then it will take them to a scene that says, hey, you got the answer right, and then it will tell you the answer. And if they get the answer wrong, it'll say nope, and it'll play this kind of cool GIF I found that says nope, and it's going in circles. And so we do that 10 times. So it's that same exact pattern. We have our multiple choice question. The correct answer gets an incremented user property, and then correct or incorrect scenes. So I did that again 10 times. So we've got one about a snake, ancient ruins, margarine, continents, Van Gogh, geometry, computers, conquistadors, trees, and sports. And once you get through all 10 of these questions, you'll see that these last two scenes will lead you down here to a check user property block. And so that's going to make sure that HQ trivia points is equal to 10. So what that means is that they got all of the answers correct. And if they did get all the answers correct, then we give them a trophy, and I'm displaying that same cool background here. And then we're using a give item scene to give the trophy. If they didn't get it correct, they're taken to this other scene, and we're displaying the number of answers that they got correct. And then either way, immediately following that, we use a photo wall pattern here. So you'll see that I created a photo frame of trivia, and then here's a cool sort of Wall of Fame logo. You can create a frame by clicking on the camera scene and then clicking on the create a frame, or in my case change frame, since I already created a frame. And then that photo is uploaded to a photo wall using this upload to photo wall block, and the photo wall is displayed via a web view scene here on the right. But if you don't want to take a picture, I don't want to force people to take pictures, I always leave an option to skip the photos entirely. And then we're taken to this final scene that says stay tuned for more trivia challenges. So let me zoom out again and we'll recap. And so that's the entire experience. I mean, it's fairly straightforward and very simple, albeit a bit repetitive, but it's really easy to make. And if you want, you can copy this experience. I'll actually show you at the end of this video how to make a copy. But again, to reiterate, we have our intro scene, we set our user properties. Every question is a column, and this is a pattern of a multiple choice question, incrementing that user property for a correct answer, and then a scene for an incorrect answer. After all 10 questions, we check that property, and then we give a prize, or we don't give a prize, and then we have a photo wall pattern here and an end experience scene at the end. So that is everything. Let me show you, if you want to use this for your own personal use and create your own trivia games, feel free to do so. That is why I made this, because I want you guys to take these cool things that I make and make your own amazing things out of it. So here's how to make a copy of this experience. I'm going to go back to the experience preview page, and then you'll see these three dots next to the share button here. These three dots will allow you to either clone or delete the experience. So if you want to make a copy of the experience, just select clone experience. And then you'll see that a clone has now been made, and we have the trivia time copy. And you can go into that and edit it yourself and change whatever you want. You can upload new audio, you can upload new backgrounds, or you can keep it all the same. It's really all the same to me. And so that concludes this breakdown video. Again, if you want to play this after watching the breakdown, feel free to scan this code here on the right hand side. I hope you learned something from this video and use the game mechanics that I used here in your own experiences to make more amazing things. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.